dominant families often forget a simple truth. I've found.
And which truth is that?
Knowledge is power.
So if knowledge really is power, does that make Egghead the strongest arc in One Piece? Yeah, maybe I'm overthinking that. But the Egghead arc does dive into how information shapes power, and it really reveals why knowledge is the ultimate revolutionary tool. One Piece has always explored concepts like freedom and rebellion, and the Egghead arc continues to do that, but through the framework of knowledge and information. The arc puts on full display the danger of knowledge in the hands of authoritarian power, and it really shows that One Piece isn't just some crazy, kooky adventure, but really it's a story about the fight for truth in a world that's rife with censorship. And that's why now that the dust has settled on the Egghead arc, I hate to say it, but I think it's one of the best arcs we've ever seen. In One Piece, just like in real life, knowledge is not just a tool. It's a form of power that can threaten or strengthen the current world order. The world government's tight grip on information shows how authoritarian systems control narratives to maintain their power. And I don't just mean in One Piece. And in the Egghead arc, for example, Vegapunk, who obviously is like the world's smartest scientist, represents forbidden knowledge and how it can change the world. His research into the Void Century, the ancient weapons, and the devil fruits carries all of the potential for the revolution. And that knowledge can expose the lies that have propped up the world government. And like I said, this is not something that's just exclusive to One Piece and fictional worlds. In real life, we can see similar dynamics. A hallmark of authoritarian regimes is to always suppress information and target intellectuals. Great thinkers and whistleblowers across time, from Galileo's science to Edward Snowden's revolutions, all show us how knowledge can be seen as a threat to those in power. And in One Piece, one of the greatest mysteries is the Void Century, a period of time that we come to learn the world government has literally erased from history. By obscuring and intentionally hiding the truth about this century, the government is preventing the world from understanding where it came from, what it actually is. And they make sure nobody else will know, like those who investigate the Void Century, Nico Robin, her family and friends on Ohara, become targets simply because of what they know or what they want to know. And we've seen that throughout the Straw Hat's adventure. Robin's knowledge of the ancient history and her ability to read the poneglyphs could expose the government's lies, and it's put a target on her back throughout her entire life. And in Egghead, Vegapunk's research on this period and the government's response shows the risks that are faced by those who try to pursue truth. And that secrecy, of course, reminded me of real-world tactics used by oppressive regimes that censor or rewrite history to control public understanding. Authoritarian governments often ban books, restrict education, and alter historical records just to maintain their hold on power. Because when people uncover hidden truth, as history has shown us many, many times, it can lead to massive revolution and social upheaval. And knowledge being power doesn't just mean the truth will set you free kind of bit. The technological advancements on Egghead show another angle about the revolutionary potential of knowledge. Things he's helped invent, from artificial devil fruits to holograms that you can eat to clouds, could reshape the society across the One Piece world. But of course, instead of letting those inventions shape and serve the public, the world government is like, we're either going to control them or we're going to destroy them. And that showcases so much, that control. The One Piece world's government's fear of Vegapunk's inventions is a clear example of how technologies, cutting-edge technologies, can really disrupt existing power structures. And again, it's the same in the real world. New technologies, new inventions or discoveries usually end up being controlled by the government or large corporations rather than just benefiting everyone. Like, we don't even know how far technology has actually advanced versus what's available for us as consumers. Whether it's information about renewable energy or medicine, the limited access we have to groundbreaking technology helps maintain the status quo. The world government's suppression of knowledge is itself an act of violence, one designed to keep people dependent on and obedient to those in power. The government's pursuit of Vegapunk, the burning of Ohara, and the criminalization of those seeking knowledge illustrates this extreme control. The scholars of Ohara who just wanted to study history and learn about these periods that nobody knew about were annihilated because of the threat that their discovery posed. And now the Egghead arc has come back around to revisit the same theme, as we watch the government as it seeks to destroy not only Vegapunk, but his research. And this control over information and the technology that comes from it really mirrors how some regimes and governments across our real world censor the internet or criminalize education or types of education to limit people's power. I mean, the fact that it's 2024 in the United States and we're still talking about banning books is troubling. Just troubling. Because suppressing knowledge isn't just about control. It's about control, but it isn't just about control. It's about preserving systems that benefit the few at the expense of the many. Intellectuals in One Piece like Vegapunk aren't targeted because they're powerful or could overthrow the government through force. It's for their brain, for the knowledge they possess. And what these characters really symbolize is the threat of intellectual empowerment, where knowledge sometimes is alone in its ability to challenge authority. In Robin's case, her understanding of how to read the poneglyphs and ancient history could shift the perspective of the entire world. And not only could Vegapunk do the same, but his scientific discoveries and his technology could break the world government's monopoly on life-altering tech. So both of these characters really embody this persona of like the silent revolutionary, who primarily wield knowledge as their main weapon against oppressive systems. But throughout history, intellectuals have always faced persecution when their ideas or their research threaten those in power. Figures like Thomas Paine during the American Revolution, or like I mentioned earlier, Edward Snowden, show how knowledge can not only inspire change, but really threaten those in the seat of power in the time that they live. In the world of One Piece, the people who seek knowledge are risking everything to expose the truth. And I think that's why the Egghead arc has stood as one of the strongest, at least in recent memory. I think from pre-time skip, it's probably my favorite arc. I think it's the strongest arc, because yes, it's showing that knowledge alongside physical power is a weapon that can be used to fight oppression. But I think it's the first time since like Sabayori, or maybe sometime around then, that we really put the dynamics of what's actually happening in One Piece on full display. Because it's not really just about punching people or about discovering the secrets of the Void Century. Those are all important things, but they're important things that are part of what One Piece is actually about. And One Piece is actually about revolution. Like if you've watched any of my other videos about One Piece, you know my take on what One Piece is that it's like a love letter to not just historical revolution, but the concept of revolution itself. And Egghead is the first time since really Robin's backstory and Ohara that we talk about how revolution is much more than just fighting. It's much more than bloodshed, and it's much more than just punching some big dragon in the face. I mean, obviously those things help, but what revolution is looking at the world in an authentic, truthful way, not being afraid to understand what's actually going on in the world. And when you do that, the power systems in place often don't have any interest in you learning or gaining this perspective. But no matter which way you come to it, like knowledge is power, but punching somebody is also very powerful. You realize the only thing that matters is power. And the Egghead arc takes a step in this discussion about what is power in the One Piece world and in ours. I mean, our world right now is crazy for a million different reasons, but this piece about information is a huge one. The rise of fake news and the concept of fake news, the way that around the world, but especially in America and the West, people don't have any idea of how to talk to each other or what really is true. I'm not making a political statement here, although I do have to say that if you're a One Piece fan and a Donald Trump fan, you're doing mental gymnastics that are like Simone Biles level. Like, you need to be on the US Olympic team. We're winning gold every year anyways, but I mean, get another spot on the podium. Because what the world government shows us, what Egghead has really exposed, is how those in power use power to create fear and to control. And I think it's something that happens across the board for those in power. Like, yeah, I made the comment about Trump. I'm not saying that the Democrats and Kamala Harris are the pinnacle of truth or anything like that. Farthest thing from it. I think the American government and governments across the world use so many different forms of violence to control people. tool. Knowledge and information, we need to think about it this way. Knowledge and information and the control around that is a tool of oppression. It's a tool of violence, even though it's not physical violence. Violence comes in many forms. And in the Egghead arc, I think Oda is like beating us across the head. He's reminding us that knowledge isn't just information. It's a force that can empower, expose, and destabilize entire systems. It's like at the beginning of this arc, they called it the Egghead incident, and I think people expected, oh, we're gonna get some big, massive revelation, or someone's gonna die, something crazy is gonna happen. And I think we as fans take for granted how impactful Vegapunk's message was. Because imagine you're just like a random person in the One Piece world, and you learn all of that information. You learn that the government has suppressed information about the Void Century, that there's an ancient kingdom, that there's a battle. That's all information we got trickled as the reader. But it's a massive, massive incident to have the foremost, greatest scientist in the world tell everyone, hey, this is super messed up. I played a hand in it and I feel guilty about it. Sea level's rising, by the way. That's bearing the lead on that. But that there's this huge sense of instability that comes in the world order from that message. That's a huge, huge incident. It's like, imagine somebody who works for the US intelligence agencies, let's just say like the NSA, comes forward with bunch of documents proving that the US has been spying on its citizens and has been conducting illegal operations overseas. Wouldn't that be crazy? Wouldn't that change everything? Nah, you'd probably just go to jail. And I'm probably reading too much into it. I mean, I think Oda's a revolutionary. I don't think he's an active revolutionary, but I think he has the spirit of one. So yeah, I'm probably reading too much into it. But to me, one of the reasons why I love the Egghead arc so much is that it felt like the spirit of revolution of One Piece was back. Like, we're back, boys. I don't know if it's just because it's poignant for our time in the world, for our time in history, but I think Oda's reminding us. I think he's reminding us that in a world where those in power try to keep people ignorant, the pursuit of truth is the ultimate act of revolution. Maybe next time I'll dig into what truth actually means. But till then, stay safe, Roboheads.